Good afternoon, sports fans. 4 o'clock on the East Coast, 1 o'clock on the West Coast. Welcome into, and that's the game here on the Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island. We are going to get started in the Premier League. Action abound today, and upset is the word of the day. Southampton 4-3 over Aston Villa, despite Watkins and Grealish both getting goals for Villa in stoppage time. Villa falls to Southampton, fall 4-3. Arsenal, a rare win for the Gunners at Old Trafford. Aubameyang gets a goal, the only goal of the match. Arsenal has beaten Man United 1-0. Newcastle has thrown the entire table into a tizzy as they beat Everton 2-1, and Tottenham is leading Brighton 2-1 in the final minutes of the game. That game was in the 83rd, soon to be completed. With all of that being said, Southampton's win over Villa, Arsenal over Man United, Newcastle over Everton, especially the Aston Villa and the Everton losses. Liverpool now sits on 16 points and has taken back top spot in the Premier League. So interesting developments there. In the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals are doing something that no one expected. At 1-5-1, the Bengals 31-20 ahead of the Tennessee Titans. About 5 minutes left to go in that game. The Raiders in a shootout. No, not really. With the Cleveland Browns, 16-6. That game is middle of the fourth quarter. Miami Dolphins showing some flashes of brilliance today. They are up 21-10 over the Rams in the early of the fourth quarter, and a game that just finished in Buffalo. The New England Patriots have dropped yet another one. They are now another loss in 2-4 on the season as they dropped 24-21 to the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots have a 3-game losing streak for the first time in 20 years. This is something that has to be answered for, despite even players that have opted out, despite even injuries that have happened to key players, despite everything going on in coronavirus, COVID-19, all the other things. There is a absolute clear lack of performance. We're not talking about underperformance. We are talking about an absolute lack of performance in the New England Patriots organization right now, and it has to be answered for. There is an analysis on this done by our very own Gianna Cambria. Go to sfbnri.com and check out the article from Gianna Cambria posted up on our website right now. Where do the Pats go from here? An absolutely great breakdown of the situation involving the New England Patriots and how the past draft picks of the Patriots organization has not cultivated what we expected to be out of the players and out of Bill Belichick's draft prowess. It also takes a look at quarterbacks that could have been drafted and quarterbacks that got drafted and got let go, and whether or not they were the answers. Of course, most specifically, everybody will look at Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco and what he has done, whether he truly should have been kept in Foxborough as the heir apparent. A slew of NFL games in the 4 o'clock block that are very interesting to follow. But of course, the game that I think everybody has eyes on tonight is the NFC least divisional game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a long and storied rivalry between these two clubs. And we will see if, even despite all of their problems this year, the game has at least some level of play to it. Red Sox news: JD Martinez is going nowhere. He will not opt out of his contract. That is the biggest player out of Major League Baseball so far to determine his status for the 2021 season. Martinez has 2 years left remaining on his Red Sox deal. He will make about $13 million on the remainder of that contract. But JD Martinez says he will not opt out of his Red Sox contract, which means he is there and the Red Sox nation can breathe a sigh of relief. They are still waiting to find out who will be in the dugout for the 2021 season. The organization said after the season, Ron Roenicke will not be back. They have sat and waited to see where players have landed. They have sat and waited to see where managers have landed. And now we are in the situation that obviously the Chicago White Sox have taken Tony La Russa. The Detroit Tigers have taken AJ Hinch, the former disgraced Houston Astros manager. So is it down to the potential of Alex Cora coming back to Fenway Park and to the Red Sox dugout? We shall see. MLS season wrapping up tonight for a number of teams. There is still one more set of games next weekend for MLS teams, but of course the eyes are on tonight's game between the Philadelphia Union and the Columbus Crew. Should the Union win the game, they would essentially have to basically walk through next week's game against the New England Revolution to ensure themselves of being able to clinch the Supporters Shield for the 2020 season and the number one seed with the bye in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. It would be the first piece of silverware for the Philadelphia Union in the MLS. For Boston fans, it is a little bit of a piece of history today. That is right. It is November 1st. And on November 1st was the day in which the Boston Bruins were founded. So a happy birthday to the Boston Bruins. November 1st in 1924, Charles Francis Adams paid the National Hockey League a sum of $15,000, and the Boston Bruins were born. Since then, the Bruins have gone on to be one of the most notable franchises in the National Hockey League, both in terms of their traditional trademarks that they have kept throughout the entirety of their existence in the NHL, but also because of their success on the ice as well. They have become one of the teams that has developed legendary players and legendary moments in the game, from Bobby Orr's flying across the ice during the Stanley Cup against the St. Louis Blues, to, of course, Zdeno Chara in modern times playing with a broken jaw, or Nathan Horton dumping water on the ice in Vancouver before Game 7, which then the Bruins went on to capture the Stanley Cup. That's it for today's edition, November 1st, 2020 of And That's the Game. Thank you so much for tuning in everywhere on the Sports Fan Base Network Rhode Island platforms, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, or Twitch. We thank you all for joining us each and every day. NFL games at 4 o'clock. Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles tonight at 8 o'clock. And we will see you right back here tomorrow at 4 o'clock for another edition of And That's the Game. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, stay safe, wear a mask, keep socially distanced, wash your hands. We will get through this all together, and we will be together cheering on our favorite teams in a stadium very soon. Until then, I'll see you later. I'm Matt Jolas for And That's the Game. Have a good night.